For years, Australian politicians told the public multinational corporations were helping the country. Meanwhile, families struggled, farmers lost their land, and political parties kept taking corporate donations behind closed doors. Then Pauline Hanson stood up in Parliament and exposed the entire system live on camera. The donations, the gas companies, the cover-ups. And the moment she blamed both Labour and Liberal together, the chamber went completely silent.
Here in this place, or in the other chamber, that in 1996 I spoke about multinationals not paying their fair share of tax in this place in 1996, and I was basically looked down upon, laughed at, ridiculed, and if I recall, it was years under Labor, the Hawke government and the Keating government, and that was just the first year when the Howard government took over. I don't believe it just comes down to what's in the budget and looking after the multinationals. I think it goes further than that, right across the board in government legislation. Now, I've actually had a meeting today with a gentleman from Queensland. His name's Kane Booth. He's a farmer, he's got a wife and he's got 2 children. Actually, Mr Booth is in the chamber. Welcome. Mr Booth has an issue with government. And it's all about, he has a property at Chinchilla, he has 1,100 acres, and it's been taken over by coal seam gas mining. Now, we actually have to look at this. This gentleman for 7 years has been fighting this. It's the multinationals. Here you have, and the Labor talks about multinationals, here you have APA. They actually own the gas piping on his property, and APA is actually have the most of the gas pipes and are the most profitable gas company in Australia. But APA has donated $10,492 to the Labor Party. Well, it is the Labor Party in Queensland, the state government, who are not doing anything about his problem, an environmental problem, because they have gone, Mr Booth I should say, has gone to the Department of Environmental Heritage and Protection to put in a complaint. They've investigated, but they have not brought down their report for 10 months. 10 months and they're still waiting, and it should have been brought down under legislation within 40 days. Why are they shutting it down? So we don't need to really look at the budget here. Actually, another thing I must tell this chamber and the people of Australia, they know what I'm talking about, because the people of Australia have been very angry about the multinationals, what's happening in our country, the sale of our land, foreign ownership, the gas of the North West Shelf. We are getting nothing from it. We're paying dearly for it because of the multinationals and what is happening in Australia. Also, the small number of petroleum companies in Australia donated $300,000 to the Labor Party. $300,000.
Do you think multinational corporations have too much influence over Australian politics? Drop your opinion in the comments and let's see what Australians really think.
Should we also mention about Sam Destasari and his $5,000 for legals, or his $1,600 for, not Desperado, Destasari, Senator, sorry, to the Chair. $1,600 for legal expenses. Both sides of politics need to clean up their act as for what the public expect. There's a pub test here. And to Mr Booth and his family, I will continue to fight for his right to have justice for those many other Australians, especially around Chinchilla, because of the coal seam gas and the state government allowing for these wells to be put in. And I have seen children with their noses running with blood, black under their eyes, and they are sick, and no one has taken responsibility for this. We cannot allow multinationals to take over our country and have control of it, and their tax benefits and cuts, and they're not paying taxes in this country. So I would like to finish with saying this is just not the government, the Turnbull government's problem. It is both sides of this parliament. It is both the Liberal and the Labor Party and the Nationals for consecutive years for not reining in and making the multinationals pay their fair share of tax. Thank you.
Pauline Hanson just exposed what may be the biggest multinational scandal Parliament does not want Australians talking about. And the moment she started connecting political donations, foreign corporations, and government inaction, the entire chamber suddenly went quiet. Because this was not just another speech about taxes or budgets. Hanson directly accused both Labour and Liberal governments of allowing multinational companies to take control of Australia while everyday Australians suffered the consequences. And she did not hold back. She reminded Parliament that she had been warning about multinational corporations since 1996, long before it became politically convenient to talk about corporate greed. Back then, she says she was mocked, laughed at, and ignored. But now, decades later, Australians are watching foreign companies dominate Australian land, gas, and resources, while families struggle with rising costs and farmers fight endless legal battles. And then Hanson brought up the story that completely changed the tone of the speech. Queensland farmer Ken Booth, a man who has spent 7 years fighting coal seam gas operations on his own property, while government departments delayed investigations that legally should have been completed within 40 days. 7 years of complaints. 7 years of waiting. 7 years while multinational companies continued operating and politicians kept accepting donations. That is when this stopped sounding like politics and started sounding like corruption, because Hanson connected the dots very clearly. Multinational corporations donate thousands of dollars to political parties. Government agencies suddenly move very slowly. Environmental complaints disappear into delays. Families get ignored. And the corporations continue making billions while paying as little tax as possible. And the most explosive part was when Hanson described children living near gas operations becoming sick, with blood running from their noses while no one takes responsibility. Parliament suddenly was not debating economics anymore. They were being accused of protecting corporations while ordinary Australians paid the price. But Hanson did not just blame one side. She blamed Liberal, Labour, and Nationals together for refusing to make multinational corporations pay their fair share of taxes. That completely destroyed the usual political game where parties point fingers at each other while nothing changes. And honestly, that is why this speech is spreading online. Because many Australians already feel like multinational companies have more influence over government decisions than ordinary citizens do. More money, more access, more protection. Hanson basically said out loud what millions of frustrated Australians have been thinking for years. Australia's resources are making corporations rich, while everyday Australians are left behind. And Parliament looked absolutely stunned the moment she said it. Drop a comment and tell me this. Do you think multinational corporations now have too much control over Australia's government and resources? Because Pauline Hanson just said out loud what many politicians are too afraid to even mention publicly.